Who's reading Earth Day? No, I don't have it. Who's reading Earth Day?
Good morning. I'd like to call to order this meeting of the Lewis County Board of County Commissioners for Monday, April 22nd, 2019. We do have a quorum. All three commissioners are here. Sheriff Rob Snaza, would you lead us in the flag salute this morning, please?
Commissioner Jackson, did you know that it's the sheriff's birthday today?
Wow.
I wonder if we should sing happy birthday to him.
Sure.
Okay.
Why don't you lead it, Edna?
I'm off pitch. You're the singer. Oh, no.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Rob. Happy birthday to you.
Woo!
You celebrating the anniversary of your 39th birthday by any chance? There we go. We have a public comment. All right. At this time, we're going to come down. We have employee recognition. We are happy to announce today we have some first quarter milestones, and we've got some folks that have been with the county for a number of years. We want to honor those folks today. First of all, for 10 years, Lucy Ford, Public Health and Social Services. Are you here? She's not here today. Okay. Well, she's been with us 10 years. Okay. 15 years, Stanley Langland, Lewis County Sheriff's Office. Thank you for your service. Thank you. "20 years with the county, Bruce Kimsey, Lewis County Sheriff's Office. Wow, 25 years. 25 years with the county. Mr. Doug Carey from Facilities. It does. Next, we'd like to honor the first quarter employees of the quarter. This is going to John Strom, Fred Terry, and Tony Kinswa of Public Works, nominated by Betsy Dillon. Lewis County has recently been called upon to help create or operate several water systems that had become shorthanded on a very short notice. John, Tony, and Fred have been instrumental in our ability to respond to the system's needs. Each employee took on the challenge to operate these systems in addition to their regular duties. They took the time to learn new systems, provided their knowledge, coordinated with Department of Health, and ultimately helped the system succeed in providing clean water to their customers without any interruption in service. They approach this work with the attitude of problem solving and personal and professional growth. It is clear that they have taken the responsibility of providing clean water to any resident of Lewis County very seriously, and we would like to thank them for their dedication. I'm assuming is John here today? He's not here, but Fred and Tony, you guys would come up. We would like to give these certificates. All right. Where is it? Pass that down to Ed and I'll let her read it.
We'll allow the group to leave and we'll proceed. I move that we approve the proclamation recognizing April 22nd, 2018 as Earth Day, as well as the Sheriff's birthday.
Second.
Melanie Case would usually be here reading this for us, but she's over at Centralia College for Earth Day celebration. So whereas the first Earth Day was celebrated on April 22nd, 1970, with the goal of inspiring environmental awareness and encouraging conservation, protection, and appreciation of our nation's natural resources. And whereas it is the responsibility of each of us to safeguard the environment by recognizing that all human life depends upon the earth and upon one another for our mutual existence, well-being, and development. And whereas the steps we can take to protect and preserve our natural environment through education, partnerships, and positive actions should be encouraged. And whereas the citizens of Lewis County are committed to the protection and preservation of our environment and the restoration of ecosystems and habitat. And whereas Lewis County citizens, staff, and elected officials work closely with federal, state, and local governments, Centralia College, local businesses, and non-governmental organizations to develop and implement programs designed to preserve and improve Lewis County's fragile ecosystem and the quality of life therein. And whereas the Lewis County Solid Waste Utility has joined forces with Centralia College to host an Earth Day celebration, complete with booths, activities, prizes, document shredding, and styrofoam recycling from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. today, April 22nd, at the college. Whereas Lewis County recognizes all who participate in Earth Day for dedication to taking a proactive role in shaping the future of our environment and in protecting Lewis County's precious natural resources. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Lewis County Board of County Commissioners hereby proclaims April 22nd, 2019 as Earth Day in Lewis County and urges all our citizens to be mindful of local, state, and national laws which protect our environment. And the BOCC invites all citizens to join in efforts to preserve the beauty and wonder of the lands, skies, and water of the earth in all of its diversity. Done in open session this 22nd day of April 2019.
Any comments? Seeing none. All in favor say aye. Aye. Passed.
Okay, I make a motion to approve 3 notice items, starting with Resolution 19-112 through 19-114.
Second?
Mr. Metcalf.
Good morning, Commissioners. Josh Metcalf, Lewis County Public Works Director. Speaking on Resolution 19-112, this is notice regarding the extended closure of a portion of Salmon Creek Road in Toledo to all through traffic. This will extend the closure of this portion of Toledo Salmon Creek Road at milepost 4.35 and beyond to all traffic from May 8, 2019 through December 31st, 2019 due to a slide. Our maintenance crews will be in there sometime this year to fix that, but this closure will remain in effect until the end of the year.
Thank you.
Resolution 19-113. This is the proposed sale of timber on county-owned property located off of Bear Canyon Road near Morton. Lewis County was informed there will be a timber sale on property that abuts Bear Canyon Road. The company will be harvesting timber up to county property, and there's some trees that are within the county right-of-way that if left would be considered danger trees and have to be removed by the county or dealt with at a later time during a storm event, as they would likely come down. So we've elected to surplus this timber. We've had a timber cruiser taken an estimate of the reported value, and we'll be going out with required publication for surplusing the timber based on this approval of this resolution.
Thank you.
Thank you, Josh.
Thank you, Josh.
Good morning, Commissioners. Tim Murphy, Fleet Services Manager, to speak to Resolution 19-114. It's a resolution call for bids. So Fleet Services Division, Lewis County Public Works has determined the need for one track skid steer loader. This equipment will be purchased with available FEMA funds. A call for bids in the packet has been prepared, and bids are due by 11 a.m. May 7th, 2019 to the Clerk of the Board of County Commissioners. And bids will be publicly open on or after 11 a.m. on May 7th. We've rented to a fair amount in the past a skid steer loader. We've identified a lot of other uses that we could have for it, even than what we've rented it for. So it's part of the FEMA funds that you've heard me talk about, and
Yes.
will be included with that.
Can you tell us what this does?
So the primary purpose that we've really rented it for in the past, on the road, when we do road projects to repair the ruts that are made in our roads, and they'll grind out and do an overlay right into the ruts with hot asphalt mix.
Okay.
It allows us to not contract that out. And so it's got an attachment that goes on the front there. In addition to that, we're going to equip it with a stump grinder, also a set of forklifts, so some forklift capability, and some post-hole driving capabilities probably in the future, where we currently use other tools or outsource work for guardrails. It really has a wide attachments for skid steer nowadays, has a huge array of work that can be performed once you have them.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's been moved and seconded to approve 3 notice items, beginning with Resolution 19-112 through 19-114. Any further discussion?
No?
Hearing none. All in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Passed.
I move that we approve consent items, including approval of minutes of April 15th, 2019, as well as Resolution 19-115.
Second.
Suzette?
Good morning, Commissioner Smith, Chief Accountant, here to present resolution number 19-115. This is the weekly approval of claims against the various county departments. Last week, we issued 218 regular warrants, number 813084 through 813301, for a total of $474,531.31. In addition, we note the following sequence of warrants. These were issued on behalf of our special purpose districts: 813023, 813083. Any questions? Thank you.
Thanks, Ms. Smith.
Thank you, Suzette. It's been moved and seconded to approve two consent items, the approval of minutes from the April 15, 2019 business meeting, and also Resolution 19-115, the approval of warrants. Any further discussion?
No.
Hearing none. All in favor say aye. Aye. Passed.
Okay. I make a motion to approve 4 deliberation items, starting with Resolution 19-116 through 19-119.
Second.
Mr. Smith?
Good morning, Commissioners. Archie Smith with Lewis County Human Resources. I'm here to discuss item number 19-116. This is a resolution to approve a memorandum of understanding between Lewis County and Lewis County Corrections Guild. What has occurred for an extended period of time is we have had a overtime calculation in the Lewis County here. What we do is we call it the Spansky rule. And we are looking at eliminating the Spansky rule. It has increased the cost of overtime that falls on a holiday for us before my arrival here. And so we're getting that process more in line with the Fair Labor Standards Act when it comes to paying overtime rules. So we met with the guild, we discussed this, and what we are doing is we are giving them a lump sum payment of $400 per person to end that process. This will save us money throughout the course of the year and for many, many years to come. And so this will be effective technically April 1st for the month of April, so it will end for them. So when we move into May and the May holiday, they will be calculated as any other normal employee at Lewis County with their holiday pay and their overtime pay.
Regular versus normal, right?
What's that, ma'am?
You said normal employee. I think it should be regular employee.
Well,
Yeah.
basically, we can either use the word normal, regular, but according to the Fair Labor Standards Act and the 1.5 multiplier and,
Yes,
and
yes.
that, instead of this weird calculation
Yep.
that we've been doing for
Mhm.
many, many years.
Yes.
Anything else?
Thank you, Archie.
Thank you, Archie.
Good morning, Commissioners. J.P. Anderson, Deputy Director of Lewis County Public Health. I'm going to be speaking on a few resolutions this morning, 19-118 through 19-11, I believe one already.
117.
Through 19-119. The first one, 19-117, is an amendment to a contract with the Housing Resource Center, to Reliable Enterprises. This is kind of in conjunction with the City of Centralia to help support a program called Rentwell for that facility. What that does is that takes people who are at risk of being homeless or maybe have a history of being homeless and are wanting to learn how to be a good tenant and kind of learn those skills. And so this will support them in providing those services. And that's area-wide. Obviously, people in Centralia and people already associated with their facility are probably more likely to use that and be connected with that, but this is a community-wide offer. So that would amend the contract at adding additional $14,600 to their contract through the end of this year. The next one is 19-118. This is an amendment to the contract with the Housing Resource Center. It will add $38,300 to their contract. They will be now obligated or now allowed to or paid and reimbursed for traveling monthly to Randall, Mossy Rock, and Winlock. That will be to cohabitate with our WIC program to make those services available to people that might otherwise not be able to get connected with case management through the Housing Resource Center.
So they were not traveling there before, is that correct?
They did not have a location that they could do that. There was some outreach going in those areas, and they were trying to reach people in camps as they heard about them, but this will be a regular routine
place where they're at, where people can depend on them being there. And the thought being that even if they don't come the first or second time, people in that community will know that that resource is available regularly.
So have the places where they're gonna meet been identified yet?
Yeah, so they'll be where we're at with our WIC offices. So and that was kind of a nice part of it, is that we'd already had those agreements for the space, so that it helped kind of move that along. Oh, thank you. Yeah, on our resolution here, it says Amendment B. I just followed up with our contracts manager for housing, and it should read Amendment C. That's in packet right now. It needs to be fixed. I don't believe that Media has access to that to fix that, but I'll fix that when I get back over and send it for signature this morning. Thank you. Resolution 19-119. Similarly, this will make available services from the Human Response Network to people in those outlying areas of Randall, Mossy Rock, and let me make sure here, and Winlock. And so that will provide for them to also co-locate with our WIC staff out there and make those services available as outlying areas. It's for an addition of $38,500. Any other questions? Thank you.
Thank you, JP.
Thank you, sir.
It has been moved and seconded to approve 4 deliberation items, beginning with Resolution 19-116 through 19-119. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Passed. We will now move into a public hearing for Resolution 19-012, which is the hearing for the first 2019 budget amendment for current expense and other funds. First, we'll have a staff report, followed by a question and answer period. We will then close the question and answer period and open the hearing for formal testimony. Anyone wishing to testify, please sign the sign-in sheet at our lectern. You will have 3 minutes. We'll now move on to the staff report. Good morning.
Thank you, Commissioners. Eric Martin, County Manager. Copies of the detailed budget amendment are available there at the front of the room if anyone would like one. This hearing pertains to the recommendation to amend the 2019 budget as indicated in the Notice Resolution 19-120. Notice of this public hearing was published in the Chronicle on April 9th and 16th of this year. The notice as published reflected an increase in expenditures of $5,537,823 and an increase in revenues of $3,195,321. Subsequent to that notice being published in the paper, the need to amend other funds became necessary, resulting in an increase in revenue in the amount of $750 and an increase in expenditures, a decrease in expenditures, in the amount of $88,848. With the new changes incorporated, this total budget amendment reflects an increase in expenditures of $5,448,975 and an increase in revenue in the amount of $3,194,571, resulting in a decrease in estimating ending fund balance in the amount of $2,254,404. The general fund portion of this amendment includes an expenditure increase of $219,762 and an increase in revenue of $106,000, resulting in a decrease in estimated ending fund balance in the amount of $113,762. Becky's going to talk about some of the details of this now, but I wanted to make a couple general statements about this amendment because it's larger than we would normally have this time of year especially. So some of this has to do with some things that are out of our control, such as increases in indigent defense spending. Some of these that you see here are non-appropriated but expected things, like .09 funding that we do every year. We just don't know how much that is until you go through the process. And so some of those kind of things are included in this as well. As well as, and Becky will talk about this, but we have some new opportunities that came to us after the first of the year. For example, the alternate FEMA project that Public Works is proposing here is a large chunk of this, which is a great opportunity for us to purchase some equipment, and then hopefully that would defer some costs or maybe eliminate them altogether for either this year or subsequent years as far as purchasing equipment and things go. So although the numbers look big, there are some really good reasons why they are there and some good opportunities for us to take advantage of some things. So Becky's going to talk more about that now. Thank you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
Hear me? So I'm going to start with the general fund. The clerk has a decrease of $2,628, and this is for a correction in internal service rates for IT. $60,000 increase in expenditures for indigent defense related to adult felony matters and indigent defense medical within the Superior Court budget. A $40,000 increase in expenditures for the part-time security officer at the Law and Justice Center. $56,000 for revenues and expenditures for trial court improvement funds to pay for security upgrades at the District Court and Superior Court. $50,000 increase at the animal shelter for donations restricted to the care of abused and neglected animals, and an increase in expenditures of $50,000 for professional services related to spay and neuter surgeries. Additional $50,000 contribution to Lewis County seniors as needed and as requested for the nutrition program only. Just to clarify, that does bring the total to $100,000 as approved at the end of last year, but we needed to include it in this first budget amendment. The coroner has an increase of $1,000 for indigent cremations. Washington State University Extension Office has an increase of $15,390 for employee medical costs as it related to changes in staffing. The previous employees had opted out of medical. Decrease the transfer to public health by $50,000 due to increased permit fee revenue. Now for other funds, the first three are for your mental health tax fund. $63,340 increased revenue and expenditures for the involuntary treatment program. We added one additional civil deputy prosecuting attorney, and we are receiving reimbursement from the behavioral health organization for that. $81,816 increase in revenue and expenditures for funding from the Great River Behavioral Health Organization for mental health medical treatment in Lewis County Jail. $79,900 increased revenue and expenditures for Cascade Pacific Action Alliance funding for Medicaid Assisted Treatment, the MAT program at the Lewis County Jail. Roads has an increase of revenue of $2,498,146 and an increase in expenditures of $2,855,025 for the FEMA alternate project for the Toledo Salmon Creek slide repair, as Eric mentioned previously. Funds will be used to purchase replacement equipment for roads and some repair work. In addition,
The number I see here is $2,928,627.
So we have $73,602 for the increase in salary and benefits for the assistant supervisor
So
position.
that's the split.
in addition to-
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
The Flood Authority is requesting an increase of $50,000 for revenue and expenditures for Recreation and Conservation Office funding for continued work on flood mitigation projects. This is in anticipation of the state capital budget being passed, so we can get that in because we won't have another amendment until July.
Right.
So $1,125,000 increased expenditures for Distressed Counties Fund. This increase is for economic development projects approved by the commissioners for Port of Chehalis, City of Winlock, and City of Vader. Funding for these projects is restricted sales and use tax for economic development projects in distressed counties. Capital Maintenance and Repair Fund has an increase in revenue and expenditures of $51,000 for Washington State Department of Agriculture Health and Safety Grant for Fairgrounds Capital Project. In addition, $2,500 costs related to water repair services out there at the fairgrounds. Capital Facilities Plan Fund has an increase in revenue of $200,000 for the RCO grant for the Packwood River Access Project, and an increase in expenditures of $230,000 for that project. An increase of $550,000 for potential land and building purchase related to the Capital Facilities Plan, and $50,000 increase for law and justice and district court upgrades. Funding for these projects is restricted real estate excise tax funds for capital projects. Public Health has an increase of $16,660 in expenditures and $66,997 for revenue, and this is related to changes in grant fund and the increase in permit fee, as well as the decrease from the general fund transfer. We have the offsetting from what I mentioned earlier, the decreased revenue going into IT services for the correction in the clerk's IT rate. And then we had an overall correction to some of the internal service rates of $370. Do you have any questions?
Becky, I just wanted to notice to the public that the dollar amount that we say use of fund balance of $2+ million, that's all funds, correct?
Yes.
So we have the general fund and we have like 76 other funds that have dollars in them, and we're using some of that. They're dedicated. Those dollars can't be used anyplace else. So that could be alarming to some people, but much of this money has been dedicated for that particular piece of work to be done by the county.
Yes, revenue received in prior periods.
Yes.
being used.
Commissioners, any other questions?
Nope.
Okay. We'll now open the question and answer period during which the public can ask questions. This is different from public testimony, which comes later. Now is the time to ask the staff any questions you'd like. Anyone? Okay. We'll now close the question and answer period. Staff, would you like your opening statements incorporated into the meeting?
Yes, please.
Yes, please.
Okay. We'll now open the hearing for public testimony. See if we have anyone signed up. All right. We will now close the hearing for public testimony.
I move that we approve Resolution 19-120, the 2019 budget amendment, the first one for current expense and other funds.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve Resolution 19-120, the hearing for the first 2019 budget amendment for current expense and other funds. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor say aye. Aye. It is passed. Go to the order, Commissioners.
Well, we continue with National County Government Month, and I have two pieces of trivia that connects Lewis County. One of them is to the University of Washington, and the other one is to the sinking of the Titanic. Does anybody have a clue? The Titanic took Mr. Klaber down, and he was the one that had all the hops growing in the Boisfort Valley. He was the Boisfort Hop King. He was very well renowned throughout the nation regarding the hops growing in that area. But he was on the Titanic, and that didn't lead to an immediate downfall of growing hops, but it didn't help because he did a lot of managerial work. But we had a problem. Beg your pardon? Okay. Let me think.
Darn Klaber's hops.
Yes. Oh, and then there was a blight that went through, so the hops could not recover from that. But we have, one of our citizens went down to the Titanic. Does anybody know about the University of Washington connection? Believe it or not, when Washington became a territory, Boisfort was considered as the site of the University of Washington. Believe it or not. But when you think about the idea of the university being here in Lewis County versus King County, but we were supposed to be the site of the university for the state. That's all I have.
Okay. Anything from the press today? All right. Colonel is waiting with bated breath over here.
Thank you. I'm sure that Washington State is not concerned about Washington settling in the valley.
Yes.
And all of those hops that were there might have been a deterrent. I know that we celebrated the sheriff's birthday. Isn't yours coming up?
Oh, Colonel. Saturday.
You got to stay off of Facebook.
Yeah, that's.
I'm Ron Averill from Centralia area. There are a couple of things that I want to pass on to you. Number one, is that we had a piece of legislation that passed this past week that was helpful to Lewis County. Among my other duties, chair the board of the Cascade Mental Health Care facility in the county. And there was a piece of legislation, I believe that Richard DeBolt was one of the sponsors on it, that passed. We've been having a small problem in that the GRBHO created a health provider facility within their own ranks that was actually competing with the providers that already existed. And unfortunately, as we looked at it, that particular operation was being, the board of the GRBHO and that operation were the same. So this legislation says you can't do that anymore. And that we think is going to assist us and strengthen our facilities. And the wonderful thing is that the original legislation that passed the Senate had a lot of things that helped us. We wanted some more added when it went over to the House, or vice versa. I forget which way it went. Those were added and it passed unanimously. So it's good support, good news for us, and we're really happy to see that piece that's out there.
And that was a 175-page piece of legislation. That's one of the biggest ones I've seen.
The other thing, one of the other things that I do, I'm, as many of you know, in Rotary, and since Rose Bowman died, she encouraged me to get in that planning staff several years before she died, and that particular, the three clubs of Rotary, Chehalis, Centralia, and the Twin Cities Club, put on an annual auction, which benefits some area here in town. Last year it was the Children's Museum development. This year it's Penny Playground renovation. This is an important renovation. As you know, not only is Penny Playground old, but it is built of wood. It is not very handicap accessible friendly, and there was a need to renovate that, to replace all the wood that is deteriorating and to make it handicap successful or accessible. We are happy to be sponsoring this project along with the Chehalis Foundation this year. Our auction is held at the Bowman Banquet Room in Transaltus Commons at Centralia College. It'll be on the 10th of May, Friday, this year. And if someone is interested in going, and I wanted to talk at this because of the people that watch online, but they can go on the Lewis County Rotary Foundation Facebook site, and there's a link to get registrations. You can register for it online. Tickets are $50 a piece. It's a great evening. You'll be able to learn more about the Penny Playground project. We usually have about 200 items that are up for silent auction or a regular auction at the event, and a good time and support a really good cause. And we'd like to see folks coming to that. So thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Colonel.
I have a few good of the order items. When Ron mentioned the legislature, I think this last week we learned don't mess with the nurses. We heard earlier about hairdressers. Like 1,000 hairdressers went to the Capitol to protest a bill, and because of some language in the Senate that was said that nurses play cards at break time and can't finish their card game, brought 500,000 signatures to send to that legislator. So things are kind of hot up there. On a real positive note, and I'm going to put Josh and Eric on the spot in a minute. I want you folks to talk about the APWA, that award coming up. But I want to first talk about the Flood Authority. The Chehalis Basin Flood Authority received a national award regarding all the floodplain management work that's been done. A very competitive award, and our own Flood Authority within the Shalis area, which means Grace Harbor, Thurston, and Lewis County received the floodplain award of the year. So would one of you like to talk about the award being presented on Friday, or not Friday, Thursday?
Yeah, the Public Works group will be recognized Thursday night at the annual APWA conference in Tacoma. This is for the project up in Packwood that was completed this last summer for bank armoring. To put it simply, it was an emergency project that took a lot of participation from the county, but also our folks up on the Hill, as well as the community and local contractor that stepped in. I think that project was completed before I arrived here, but was a huge success, and it took a tremendous amount of effort from everybody to get that done in the time that it was completed, get the funds, get the approvals, and so the Public Works and the contractor are going to be recognized with the Project of the Year award Thursday night.
And Commissioner Stamper put in a lot of work too. So
We all,
yes, it's a team effort.
team effort.
Yes.
So I think it's worth saying a few names. I mean, I'll
Sure.
probably leave people out, which is unfortunate, but they're all, everybody in Public Works. I mean, most of the people, especially on the engineering side, had something to do with this. And WECBAC was really instrumental in making this happen in the timeline that it did. Originally, it was going to take an extra year to get this done, and she found a way to make sure that the permitting happened in time to get it done. So, you know, we had some great people working out there. Dave Christian was our inspector, and Don Carney was our construction engineer and had a lot to do with it. Tim Fife, obviously the county engineer, had a lot to do with it. Lots more people in the staff that hopefully most of them will be up there on Thursday night to help receive the award because they totally deserve it. But also a big thanks to Ed Orcutt, who helped get some funding for us on that, and also Jamie Herrera Butler, who definitely helped make sure that the permitting happened in the timeline that we needed. So there's just a really huge team effort. I mean, grassroots group up there in the neighborhood. Steve Albert was the Homeowners Association president. He's worth noting because he really pushed very hard to make sure that this happened. And so a lot of good team effort on this one, and it's going to be fun to celebrate it Thursday night. So.
Yes, thank you.
With no further business, I make a motion to adjourn.
Second?
We are adjourned. Thank you, everyone. Have a good day.